Om Namah Shivaya. This is 26 July 2023, 18:33, 6:33 p.m. It seems like the In the Khud is sponsored by Microsoft. Well, certainly one day, why not? I've been avoiding In the Khud. I have been pushing it away for the past couple of days. And this just struck me that two things struck me. One is that slow progress is better than no progress. And secondly, just remember why you started. I think one of the reasons why the mind started to contemplate a lot before putting out content is one of the videos that I put last week on Adobe Firefly being a better alternative to Stable Diffusion. Somehow the algorithm recommended that video a lot and a lot of negative comments came on that video. So when that happens, there is a natural tendency for the mind to be like, should I post this or should I not post this? But the reason I want to stress on the fact of remember why you started is because out of all the reasons, the biggest thing was documentation and making sense out of life. And I'm going to stick to that. So I haven't prepared the things that I wanted to show in this video, but I'm just going to go with the flow and see where things go, because that's what the nature of this show is. It's not a scripted entertainment. A lot of things I want to talk about. First is the deforum render. So let me just quickly show you the render that I made so that you know what it is that I'm talking about. So this was the final option. Yep. So in order to achieve this 25-second video, out of which the first 4 or 5 seconds was a stock video of milk pouring into a glass, to achieve this little thing of 16 seconds or so, I made about, now I don't quite know which one. Yeah, this is the main folder. Okay, this folder, if you were to check the size of this folder alone is at 3.95 GB and there are only image sequences in it. So I did 41 tries. The last one was, I think, the one where this person is coming in with the milk towards the end. So 41 tries, of course, not of the whole thing. I did it in segments, but all across these, I was experimenting with the strength, the number of steps. Steps is fine. You don't need to experiment. Only to get the motion right, you experiment with the steps. But strength, noise, CFG. These are the three main things that you have to experiment with in order to get better results. And I want to make a complete video where on the left side I would have all the settings and the right side I would have each of these video sequences playing. That would be so awesome, but I don't want to manually put in those text. So that's where the second point comes in here. I wanted to have a CSV to AE script that would just do things automatically for me. I would just select a CSV file in Excel, something like this, like these different files which are generated with Stable Diffusion by default. I would just select this and I would get only the things that I want, like steps, the strength, the prompts. Maybe I would put the prompts here, noise schedule, things like these, strength schedule, CFG scale schedule, these parameters. But turns out it's a little more complicated and I could not get to doing that. But however, there is one good news. I came across this GitHub repository for an After Effects script which does it for you. So if I was to just run this script as it is and have an instance of After Effects running on the side, this is one very weird thing I figured out, is that in order for After Effects to actually behave like a window, like you do windows left right, you need to have something here like a folder, and now it recognizes it as that's weird. So anyway, I was to come in here and run the script as it is. The guy who's made this has done so much work, so much beautiful work in putting this script, and he's giving it away for free. Very interesting. There are so many things that I can learn from this particular script, but primarily I want to understand the functioning of things, because if I just select a CSV file here, it makes text layers for all of the columns inside my CSV, which is like 255 columns with the deforum settings. So how to basically segregate the things that I want, that, and how this is happening, like just you click a button and you get the Windows Explorer, because that's something I don't know. So a lot to learn from this particular script, which is something that I'm looking forward to. Prompt Muse tutorial training AI model. Now let me see if I can find the tutorial. There is this beautiful YouTube channel that I came across, and she's made some really good AI Stable Diffusion and stuff content, and it's from November 2022. But the beautiful thing about it was the fact that you can actually train models.
And so
this is the video, consistent AI characters in any pose tutorial, and I want to follow this to the T and see if I can train my own AI model, and then just prompt, like convert it into a CKPT for stable diffusion, and then you just put in prompts for different kind of scenarios, and that voila, that's happening. So that's a very interesting path to go down, which I haven't gotten the time to get around to. Complex shaders condensation. So I'm going to show you one open file which I got from a client for a client project, and I don't know if I can show or not, but here goes nothing. This, I was extremely happy to get the model, because trying to recreate the modeling part, it's always a mess of sorts. So I was extremely content that we asked for the open file, they gave it. And you see, this is a very complex material. The modeling is not complex. I could have more or less nailed it to like 80% of the structure, but you see the amount of time it's taking for me to just go into the rendered view, because the materials are all procedurally generating, like even to the point that this label here is being generated procedurally. Look at the node for just the label. Okay, so this node structure, like even making it full screen, is Blender is going to go not responding at any moment because I'm also recording my screen. But yeah, you see the amount of nodes that have been procedurally put. And last night I was trying to see how I can bake this into a texture of sorts where all of this drama is eliminated. And I think it's because of these complex node structures that the blend file is very, very difficult to navigate through. And the same is the case with, like, if you were to actually, if I could get to show you my viewport and the liquid material itself, the GIN material, it has a ton of things, like it has a refraction and dispersion and fake caustics, and again reflection and volume and absorption and bump, and I don't quite know, because these are all going into separate shaders, like it's going to transparent BSDF and it's going into translucent BSDF. It's not all going into the principal BSDF, so I don't quite know how to bake it, because all the baking methods for Blender require a principal BSDF. And on Twitter on Reddit, on one of the posts, they show that, mix the inputs in a way and do some things, but the point being that I don't know how to condense this complex shader situation. Last thing I want to say is VFX using Blender plus After Effects. So again, I found a nice YouTube channel, NPS3D, and I watched this one complete tutorial where he talks about an add-on Blender AE to blend, and the idea being that you track things inside After Effects and then you just copy it into Blender, and you don't have to match any perspective or anything, just do everything the way he's showing it. And then after that, inside Blender we already have our skills to navigate and make things happen. Then you take it back into After Effects to do the compositing. So that's a process I want to get a lot more familiar with. I remember at a point I was very specific, like VFX is something I'm not gonna do, but turns out every single time that I have picked up on things which this is something I'm not interested in, the universe has its way of getting it back, like check out VFX, and there's nothing wrong with it because it's part of my skill set, After Effects and Blender. So I am actually perfectly suited at this point in time to dive into the world of VFX, and it just opens up so many different verticals I can go into. And yeah, that is pretty much where life is. I covered all the points that I had to. There is nothing that you can kind of take away from this video, but that's the point of this video. I'm trying to make slow progress, but definite progress, and just trying to remember why I started this thing here called In the Khud. And we've hit 215 vlogs now, which is amazing. So that's it for today's documentation. Thank you so much for being in the Khud. I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace.